Gotta say, social. Social. The only time I ever heard of doing a social is when you're playing cards, that game Asshole. Yeah, that was fun. But like Half and Half said, my friend recently passed away. And you know, everything's hopping on the Facebook. That's where you go, you get your live news feed, check out your ex-boyfriends, see what a whore your ex-girlfriend is. And I went out there and I was on my friend's site and I'm scrolling down and I'm like, oh, they were close friends. And then I see like, I'm gonna miss Monday ice cream fests. I'm like, fuck you didn't even know her. And I'm like scrolling down more and I see like, you know, I'm really gonna miss you. And I'm like, you're that ex-boyfriend that sent pictures of your dick to her on Christmas. Did she need a reminder? No, she left for a good reason. So, you know, I'm looking down more and stuff, and, you know, just a bunch of jackasses that didn't really know her and stuff. And one of the funniest things is she really likes my boyfriend now because she was really concerned I was going to end up in a dumpster. That's because I met guys at the bog. You guys aren't familiar with the bog, are you? That's where I meet guys that might put me in a dumpster. I want to check it out. Well, you're already halfway there. You got the black glasses, the CBGB shirt. You just walk in and be like, who likes the talking heads? Girls will be lined up to give you a blowjob, guaranteed. It's on Adams Avenue. And across the street, there's a bunch of Arab guys who claim they are dancing kings of Willix, which is Wilkes-Barre. But to them it's Willix. I don't know Arabic, but whatever. But yeah, good times there. One of my favorite guys that I ever met there was, I refer to him as Crying Brian, because our first conversation, we're outside of the bog, and I'm like, you know, he's got a comb over, he looks like a Jewish dad, totally my type. I bet he has an AARP card, too. Oh. So I'm talking to him, and he's like bombed, and he's like, I gotta ask you a question. Have you ever been in love? I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Probably squeeze a couple more drinks out of him, though. So I'm like, yeah, I've been in love before. Well, why don't we go back in? No, I was in love once with Nico. Like, what are you, in the fucking Velvet Underground? Like, I was in love with Nico. He's like, he was also a military man, and apparently this was this chick he met, you know, in Japan and stuff. And then I'm just busting his ass. I'm like, remember World War II? He's just like, do you like Bob Dylan? He's got soul. I'm like, yeah, how about we go back in? You know, you could get me a drink. And then he's like, I can't trust you. And I said, well, I would hope not. You just met me. Why can't you trust me? Because you're a woman. Bob Dylan said you're all evil. And this is when I was like, you know what? Fuck you, comb-over Jewish-looking guy. I'm like, in the past 6 months, I had some frequent black glasses dump me via text message, another asshole tell me I was hogging up his dating scene, and now I got you telling me women are evil? So of course I rushed back in there. I'm like, fuck this guy. And he's like, do you want a martini? I'm like, okay, we'll talk. We'll talk. My favorite happening was, in the night, he told me, I'll be right back. And I thought he was going to the bathroom. And I had his cell phone and his hoodie. And he says to me, I'll be right back. And I'm looking, and I see him out the window, and he's getting into a cab. And I have his phone, and it wasn't worth that much money, believe me. I double-checked. He had internet on there. And I checked, you know, his text messages and stuff, and I saw a bunch of messages from his one friend, Mike. So I called up Mike, and I'm like, yo, I got your buddy's cell phone. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, neither do I, but do you want to call him and tell him we could come pick it up at the bog? No, fuck him. I just know him through my sister. So I get off the phone with him, and I'm looking through, and his contacts included Mom, Dad, because you can't get rid of them, Mike, and Maroney's Pizza. Now this guy's a party animal. Pizza, parents, and a guy that said, fuck you, I'm not going to call him. So I get in touch with Maroney's Pizza, and they get the phone back to him, which is funny because they were more responsive, like, oh, Brian, he likes the Dylan and cries all the time. We'll get the phone back to him. So I left my number with Maroney's Pizza with his phone, and he called me and asked me on a date. And as a comedian, I'm like, how the fuck could I pass that up? That's like, hey, I'm comedy. Go out with me. I'm going to buy you dinner. So I did, and he cried during the date. He cried about Nico. He cried about his job. He cried because he was 33 years old. Yeah, honey. Yeah. So it was, it was a date from made in the heavens. But my favorite, though, is how things ended with this gentleman, because I saw him for 3 months. Yeah, I know. I'm a genius. And I had this really bad crisis I was going through. So I called him, and I said, I'm going through something really bad. Call me when you get out of work. So he calls me. Oh, the best is he didn't get 3 minutes before 9 o'clock. So he didn't call me till 9:01. And he's like, I had to call you when I had 3 minutes. How are you doing? And I said, I'm okay. Or no, I said, I'm doing awful. And he's like, all right, well, I'll call you back later. And he calls me back bombed at this real ghetto bar in Wilkes-Barre. I'm sure the Willix Dancing King was there. And at this bar, apparently is the type of bar I understand where you, 1, could get shot in, and 2, people try to sell you porn. Well, I guess it's 50% cool then, right? I don't have to stop at the Playtime Boutique for whacking material. That creepy guy with a box over there is going to make me an offer. But, so he calls me, and he's bombed, completely bombed out of his mind. And he's like, I don't know why I had to talk to you about you being sad. I'm not your boyfriend or anything. I'm complicated. That's what happens when you meet guys at the bog. They're fucking complicated. In other words, they need to go to AA. And so he's talking to me, he's like, I'm like, you're still in love with that Asian chick anyway. And he's like, Nico, I love her. I'm like, I gotta go. I've got stuff going on. I gotta update my Facebook status and say you're an asshole. He's like, no, you don't understand me. I'm like an onion. I have layers. Like, yeah, you smell and you make me want to cry. I'm gonna go now. No, Michelle, I have issues. I'm like, honey, you don't have fucking issues. You have subscriptions. So you call a therapist in the morning and we're good. And then all of a sudden I hear and there's silence. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I fell in a ditch. And I just said, well, I'm happy the ditch could provide the smackdown I'd like to give you. But I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Half and Half. Social! Woo! Thank you.